Welcome back to another episode of All Things Everything presented by Gulf Coast Smoke. My name is Alonzo.
And I'm Sabrina.
And we have two special guests with us today. This is the first time that we've had two people at once, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that we've had the honor of having two guests at once, but I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Go ahead and let everybody know who you guys are. If you cook in Texas and you don't know who these two are, you might be living under a rock. But anyway, go ahead.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for having us on, man. I'm Vincent Regino out of San Antonio, Texas. This is my wife, Joyce Regino, and together we make up Regi-Q Barbecue.
Sweet. Awesome. Regi-Q Barbecue right now.
On top of that, on the occasion, I actually compete under my own competition team as well, separately from him. Smoking Grit.
That team name has bested me one too many times in competition before. So,
I
know. I was gonna say pretty much. I think everybody's gotten their ass kicked at least once or twice by Joyce, which is exactly why we wanted to have both of you guys on today. This year so far, Reggie, and I know, of course, his name is Vincent, but I'm just used to calling you Reggie everywhere we go.
Yeah.
But every time I'm like, "Yo, Reggie, good luck, bro." He's like, "Yeah, whatever." But man, so this year, Regi-Q Barbecue, in my opinion, is just absolutely slaying it out there. We looked up your stats for the year so far. You guys are currently sitting 6th overall, 6th place chicken, 10th place pork, 3rd place brisket. So first, before we dive into what's going on in 2024, I mean, how long have you been competing in competition barbecue?
So I guess we really hit our 3-year mark at the beginning of March this year. So I guess we're technically starting our 4th year now.
Mm-hmm.
So within those 3 years, I think total, we wrote it down. Just
81 comps.
81 comps.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, it's been a good run. Those 3 years have been, it's been
busy.
Crazy. Gone by super fast. So
within that time period, we bought a home at the beginning of us also competing. So we barely lived in our home too.
Brand new house, and you're living out of a trailer home 2 days a week, right?
Every weekend.
Exactly.
But that's just I think that's just the joy and what people may not get about competition barbecue. When we go, and a lot of people, even my friends, are like, "Man, dude, you're crazy. How do you do that?" And me, I'm not even doing it every weekend. Sometimes, sometimes it's every weekend, but sometimes every other weekend. They're like, "Man, how are you doing it?" I'm like, "Man, just love it. There's no other way. There's no other way to describe it besides we love it. It's a lot of fun." So,
exactly.
So you guys have been competing, starting on your 4th year. How did you get into competition barbecue? What made you say, "Hey, I want to go to that competition. I want to go to a competition," and then, of course, falling in love with it?
Yes, really, just growing up, I always was cooking, whether it was barbecuing or just, cooking carnitas, tripas, all kinds of stuff like that. And so I always enjoyed the outdoor live fire cooking. And then Barbecue Pitmasters came on.
Oh, yeah.
And that was really like kind of the turning point. I was like, okay, this is really what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember starting, cooking my first brisket. I was maybe like 11, 12 years old, and just kind of figuring it out from there. So that's really what kind of got me into it. And then as we got older, we finally got to a point where it was like, hey, we, everything's kind of good. We're saving up for that first house type thing. And, the next step isn't necessarily wanting kids, so it was like we still want to have some enjoyment and some freedom. And so I told Joyce, I was like, I think what's missing is just competition, but friendly camaraderie competition, because I haven't had that in years. And that's what I've always done. I've always traveled, I've always played travel ball, whether it be 6-on-6 football, baseball, basketball. We've always traveled as a teenager growing up. So it was second nature to kind of jump into it and knowing like, hey, this is what I want to do. I really want to chase it hard. This isn't going to be something where, we do 1 or 2 comps a year. I think that first year our plan was to try to get 6 done, and then COVID kind of hit. So, that's really how we got into it.
Really, right after that, we ended up with almost 50 competitions by
within like the first 18 months or so.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I love to hear that, because one of the things that I truly do love about competition barbecue, and you mentioned it, camaraderie. It's amazing. There's a lot of friends that you can meet out there, but man, at the end of the day, it's a competition. Yeah, I'm not there. It's like I tell everybody that's come on the show that competes, man, I promise you, like, I love seeing you guys there. Joyce always gives me a hug. I always go tell you hi. It's awesome. Yeah. But man, I want to beat you every time. And I know but the thing is, you want to beat me too, right? And you should. If you don't want to beat me, man, you're doing the wrong thing. You know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's a gamble every weekend. I mean, if you like gambling a little bit,
100%.
You really are gambling your taste buds every weekend, really pushing yourself with attitude. It comes from the beginning of the week. You start off, and then with a mindset, right? You prepare yourself that by the time you get there and wake up Saturday morning, you cannot wake up with a different mindset. You have to wake up concentrated and ready to go.
Yep. Yeah, you're right on the ball about that. And you're the first person that's kind of brought that up that we've had on the podcast that, man, you're right. Monday morning, Sunday is really for us a reset day. We like to go, we like to go get brunch as a family, be lazy, watch movies, whatever. And Monday, man, I mean, I'm already looking for meats. I'm thinking about, hey, what went wrong or what went right? What do I need to duplicate? Am I sure I made notes of the things that I did right this time or what I really liked or enjoyed about our food? And you're right. It's just like today's Wednesday, right? So we're obviously doing this podcast, but I got some birds I need to trim right after this. So it's almost like a second full-time job, but I love that you brought that up because you're correct, at least in my opinion. It's a mentality, and it starts from, Monday morning when you wake up. All right, got a contest on Saturday. Time to get right up here, and then the rest usually takes care of itself. So,
that's a week-long process. I mean, between just the whole thing, especially for us, we missed 2 weeks of competing. So then you have to remember, okay, well, what stuff did I take out of the trailer? Normally, when you're doing it back to back, everything is still there. So it's you got to have a good mindset to get out there every single week, especially with all the prep you have to do, and that goes into it. So did you guys start out competing together or separately? When was Smoke and Grit incorporated into y'all's competition barbecue?
No, so we definitely started competing
together.
It's right as Regi-Q barbecue from the very beginning.
I think it was the concept of he's handling meats, I'm handling jackpots. What can we get the most out of it so we can continue building up that fund account to not take more out of our own pocket. We like to save money.
So no, I mean, it definitely started with me kind of chasing it right away. And then it really wasn't until probably almost a full year and a half into it that she started. So I'd gone through, we went through the first year of just
we went
chasing.
To the rodeo the first year.
So we went through our first year of just kind of cooking IBCA and CBA. We entered into it right when CBA was kind of coming in. So we didn't really do a lot of CBA at the beginning. And then the second year, that's when we really chased the points together. And then the following year, that's when. So it's really just been one full year now. That she's been competing by herself.
And it was just 2023. And really was the idea that if anything were to happen to him, I'm coming in, I'm picking up the slack, or anything vice versa. We can compete together separately. We can hold ourselves on our own and together. But really, we feel that the practice that each one of us get on our own builds up that extra power within a team and strategy and just thinking about what you're really putting out there.
Yeah. And what really my concept was a lot of times I'd be running out, getting the pork or getting the ribs and then wrapping time comes and man, it's just, it's chaos there for, 45 minutes. And now it's just, hey, do that. And I'm doing this and doing this. And we come back up and it's like, man, it's a breeze now.
We get to enjoy it.
It's so smooth. And, it'll be times where, hey, I'm going to run and get chicken turn and something may not get done. Hey, get that tent, make sure that's tender pro, get this, get that. I may be coming back from chicken turning and brisket's off. And she says it's done, it's done. I don't go back and double check or anything like that because she knows exactly what we're looking for, each one of us. And so that's really and that's really what we were trying to do. I realized I kind of saw the route we were going and I really wanted to make our team, she and I that much stronger. And so my mentality last year was very much so make her as good as a cook as I can be. And she's definitely surpassed that in my opinion. So when you have someone like that as your partner who can stand alone, win GCs alone, and then come and help me and just fit in like nothing, that's really what we were trying to create. So that was really the whole purpose of it. Moving forward, I think we want to see huge results from that work we put in that last year.
We just want to catapult, not just take small steps. We want to just keep making strides to really reach our goals. I mean, we have our own goals. We have our own timelines. We expect to reach those. So
that's amazing. Really to be honest, one of the things I love about what you guys are talking about is the confidence. You can feel the confidence through the microphone. And I love people. No, I'm serious. I love people that are confident because I don't talk about it much, but I'm confident myself as well. Sabrina and I have goals. They're probably a lot different than y'all's, but we know that we're gonna reach our goals. Our goals our goals are really not so much surrounded by competition barbecue. We love our YouTube channel, and we want to take that YouTube channel to another level. And I think we've been doing a pretty good job. We know we can do better, and I mean we're gonna reach that goal. So man, it's amazing to hear you guys work together so well. Not to make it about us, but man, I promise you, like same thing with Sabrina. I'll walk away. The thing that stinks sometimes about like, I put myself out there on the internet and stuff, right? And people will notice me and, hey man, what's going on? Love your channel, whatever. Man, I'll get to talking and then I'm like, dude, I gotta go, bro. But I don't want to be rude. Man, my wife is back there, same thing. Hey, the brisket's done, ribs are done. I'm like, cool. And I 100% trust her. We've never questioned each other. And she really gives me the freedom to say like, hey, no, it's your final say. Like this is, but I think it's done, or I think it should go 30 more minutes or kind of whatever. So we've really, we've kind of talked about it. I do think Sabrina can compete on her own, but
she definitely
she could. No, she could for sure. But we've talked about it, and she just right now she's not interested in doing it. I think, especially because we're filming it, and unfortunately, I don't think she ever really could because she's filming.
Yes, it's a big role. No matter what.
Yeah, we would lose the filming aspect of it, or I would have to film her. Like it would just, it would take away from one of us. But either way, I love that you guys that strength in numbers type thing, and that you're an amazing cook yourself, Joyce. Like I said, you've stuck it to me plenty of times.
And I like what you guys said too, because it's us. Our whole goal, especially with me helping, is to make sure that if he's away talking to somebody, or we've got kids, right? If he has to help the kids with something, I have to help the kids with something. One of us is there, and we know what to do, right? And it just makes things go by so much smoother when you have that help. And it's almost like finishing each other's sentences, read each other's minds type of thing, right? Yeah. So you know what they need before they even ask for it.
Yeah. Speaking of kids, our youngest just walked in and decided to bump the camera, get some paper out. So
we could color.
Yeah. Keep enjoying that freedom. Keep enjoying that freedom of going to.
We're on the same route though. No, yes. And really that's also the same part of it. I mean, we have a family, anything we want our family to have this experience. I think even for myself growing up, rodeo time, anything that had a barbecue festival included, my dad and my mom were so excited. Every time we'd be walking by the pits and be like, how do they do this? How do they pay for this? How do you get started? And now we're here. It's like, wow, it's beautiful that now we have that opportunity. And if we do have a family, we grow it. We keep pushing it the same way. And it's a wonderful community. I mean, just really enjoy meeting people in every single city we've gone to.
Not 15 straight weeks, go at it, but
have a little bit more breaks
maybe once or twice a month type thing.
Yeah. No, for sure. Like I said, absolutely love the energy and that you guys feed off each other. I think that, man, that's important in any relationship, right? I mean, just having trust in your partner in anything. Let's not even talk about barbecue, right? So that's awesome.
No, exactly. Yeah.
And I love that because I can tell like you guys just have that trust, man. And that's truly amazing and something that this is why I love doing this show. You don't really always, like I've talked to you at events, Reggie, and we've actually had a pretty good conversation about, man, I love talking to everybody, but man, when I get here Friday night, like it's go time. I get serious. I don't necessarily want to, I don't want to talk to you necessarily. I mean, I do, but I don't, right? I have a plan. I'm here for a reason. Not that you're trying to be rude to me, but it's like, hey bro, like I gotta go. And you have, you have your thing. And man, I even told Sabrina, like, man, I respect that, like you're coming for a reason. This is definitely a hobby. You definitely have fun, but win or nothing. And I love that. I love that mindset, man. It's awesome.
Yeah. We blow the whistle and it's ready to go.
Yeah. Hey,
I mean, a lot of that has to do with just kind of getting there so late on Fridays. I mean, I don't take a lot of, work off, time off from work. I can, but it's not like, it's a limited type thing. And so I have to be really selectful. So if it's within, 3 hours, I don't take any time off. So if I leave the house at 5:30, and we get there 7:30, 8:30, it's rough. And so, it takes 30, 45 minutes to get everything set up to begin with. And then, kind of going through the process. So next, it's 10:30, 11 o'clock and you're just finally,
and then sometimes he throws a chef's choice or a steak cook.
Yeah.
And we're running with a pit out and get this and get that. And I don't know where that is.
Yeah. No, that's sometimes the chaos is part of the fun, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Every time. I mean, it's weather, it's cutting, it's tripping, it's anything going out. It's all a part of the challenge of the day. So you really, like I said, you have to be mentally so prepared that
for sure.
You have plan A, B, and C, and D ready to go.
100%.
And then lucky her partner has plan E and F ready.
Yes,
well.
There you go.
Like, what else do you need?
Yeah.
I'm going to find out.
Right. No, that's awesome. So we talked about Smoke and Grit being formed recently within the past year or so. Now, what is it like when you guys do compete against each other? Do you still do you help each other out in the trailer, or is it complete competitiveness? Like, hey, I'm here to beat you too.
The only part we really help each other on Saturday is when we go to wrap, because our processes are so pretty much the same. It's right around the same time that we wrap. We've gone the route where we're like, hey, I'm not going to help you at all. You're not going to help me at all. What happens is dishes don't get done.
Yeah. We get really behind.
Everything gets behind, and then she gets behind on this, and I get behind on that. And there's no cohesiveness, and the trailer's just a huge mess.
So for me, it's more like I know for sure I'm slower than him. Just my eye, I'm wondering, I'm thinking in my head. I know I have a clock right in front of me, but I'm like, I have 3 minutes. I have 3 minutes. But at the end of the day, I need those 3 minutes. So I'll tell Vincent, I'm starting 5-10 minutes before you, just so you can help me do the wrap, so I can make sure you can put the juice for me. If I'm holding the meat over here or whatnot, I need you to help me pour that in. And that's as much as we end up helping each other at this point. After that, it's just waiting for the meat to really come to tender and slice up, and finishing it's up to us. Really, every single comp we talk, what are you going to do if you're finishing? What are you going to, I don't know. Well, you tell. And that's where we get more a little bit more competitive.
And obviously we use a lot of the same products as well. So, I mean, you'll we'll see each other's seasoning, and it's really like, hey, that's going to take exactly the same. We get back and try. I'm like, golly, man, could it be? It's like night and day with each one. I don't think we've ever had a protein back and forth where we're like, this tastes exactly the same.
Yeah.
She's real season heavy, and I'm real injection heavy.
Yeah.
And so, if when I season, I talk about layers of seasoning. She does one layer, and it's like, it's like it's on there.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
But it works. It's techniques that we can compare now and say, your way worked, my way worked. Put it in the book. We have 2 new techniques that we can rely on if we want to. If we want to change it at any time, hey, you got a better outcome at that place, then let's follow what you did last time instead of what I've been running the last 2 years. So that's really what's helped us make that decision now going forward in this case.
And I think that's really cool, because you could have a mindset of, okay, well, we're going here, and maybe you want to cook thighs and I'll do a half chicken, and see which one does better here.
Because exactly what happens.
Yeah, you can't really like, we'll have the talk all the time like, oh, should we do thighs or should we do a half chicken? Should we do all wings, right? But you only have one chance for us because we're one team. When you go out there as two separate teams, you get the chance to kind of play with your boxes, play with what you're putting into the box. So I think that's really cool and advantageous for both of you in the end.
Yeah. This past weekend, she ran thighs with wings and was 5th overall. And I just ran a half chicken, no wings, and was 11th overall.
And he had been doing so much better on half chickens than me doing thighs at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
My thighs were starting to slack off or stay back and not getting the best, but his was kicking. I mean, he's 6th overall right now.
And this year I've ran thighs 3 or 4 times, legs twice, and a half chicken more than a few times now. And thankfully I've hit on all of them, so it helps because we both have the trial and error of what is working, what isn't. Like you said, we definitely have 2 chances. So, I mean, you can really, really narrow down what you're doing. And then, you think about it on a 30, 40 person comp and you're kind of renewing that year over year, you kind of know which comps, hey, they bring in, the VFW from this place, or this place brings in this people. So you kind of know what profiles are going to be there. Yeah. So that's what's really kind of helped us this year, I really think. It's just kind of accumulation of information over the last 2 years.
That's awesome. And I mean, it shows, right? Because you have been doing really well every single event that I've been to with you this year. And man, it's just, the consistency, the word consistency comes to mind when I think about Regi-Q barbecue, especially this season. So we are pretty new to cooking in general, but I mean, ever since I've been in the game, or we've been in the game, I mean, definitely Regi-Q is always there, right? So consistency is definitely a huge word whenever I think about you guys.
And so how do you guys determine when to compete together and when to compete separately?
So, well, you can get, so it's so right off the bat, we no longer do 4 meats separate. That's just way too much work. And the way we do pork, and it's just way too much work. Too many pits, too many drums. I got to take 8 drums out there, and
it was chaos. I mean, it really wasn't enjoyable.
So right away, we can't do 4 meats individually for sure. So it's got to be a 3 meat.
And I think we can, but I think
we can, but it's just it's not fun. It's not fun. We did our first 4 or 5 comps that we did individually were 4 meats, and it was just way too much work. But on top of that, it really comes down to the entry money, the distance, and it's really if we're trying to double up. That's really what we're looking for. It's really just the payback.
Yeah,
the payout's good. Low entry, 3 meat, and we're both competing
for sure. Yeah, that's a very good way to look at it, and it's logistical, right? It's a good way to attack it. I will tell you this much, and this is horrible of me. You can even ask Sabrina. Man, I don't know why. I've just like, oh yeah, we'll go there. And it's like, what are they paying? I don't know. I mean, and trust me, like, we should be making better decisions for sure. We got 3 kids. Like, you know how much it costs to buy snakes. I saw that you bought 3 or 4 today. Like, come on, man. This is not. I ain't got it like that. But I have never.
Once it hits the account, you gotta spend it. You gotta spend it on more briskets, man. Like, dude, dude, don't look at it, just spend it.
So right after Carfest in Arlington, we got lucky. We hit some pretty big brisket calls, and I instantly was like, "Hey, order snakes from the website right now. Like go order 4 of them like right now because
you'll feel less guilty about it because 2-3 days down the line, you're like, oh man, that money looks real good in there.
For sure.
This or that.
For sure. Like, oh man, kids are hungry. Nah, I'm just kidding.
Rice and beans.
Rice and beans. Maybe some bread. We'll be all right.
We'll be all right.
Sacrifices we all have to make for this family.
Perfect face beans, actually.
Line. I still couldn't believe that, dude. Like when I tell you that is the most excited I've been, I was like, oh, that video actually just dropped. That video just dropped 25 minutes ago, by the way. If anyone that's listening to the podcast, go back and watch our most recent video. Bishop, you're in it.
Lots of times.
Yeah, lots of times. We show you at least 4 times going up to the dang. Reggie is in that video. And, we did end up hitting a perfect score bean, which I have no idea how we. Dude, I was talking to Caesar last weekend, and he was like, "Dude, that's got to be harder than hitting a perfect meat." I'm like,
it's hard.
I don't know. I mean, dude, and that's because it's funny because like Rini and Raul and everyone was like, "Bro, those beans are banging." I'm like, "Yeah, they're good." You know, I mean, I thought they were good too, but I mean, perfect score, I couldn't believe it. So I was just super hyped. Yeah. Anyway, enough about me. On to the next thing, right? So,
I love it. I'm a beaner.
Yeah, there you go.
That's how she got into the competition side.
I'm like the biggest, baddest story of winning beans. I tell him all the time, like, that's the ultimate story because people actually remember this situation.
Yeah.
It was like a peanut festival in Florida.
It was in Florida. I think it's next week.
Yes, actually.
It might be this weekend, actually.
But
yeah, it's this weekend.
I won that thing. It was the last call. It was raining. It was one of those things he hadn't gotten a single call. Like, let's go. We didn't win anything.
Yeah, she was all mad.
And he's like, no, beans are still coming up.
I was like, you still have your first, like, it's your first jackpot. Yeah. You know, like, you still have your beans. She's like, no, let's go. So we started kind of working our way. And I would stop. And then we were like almost to the end. I'm like, okay, I'm going to wait here until it's over. And then, you know, the last one was beans and they called. And she's like, oh, that's my number. I was like, oh. She ran all around.
That's funny.
I was like, man, you don't want to leave now.
Jackpot. It won more than anyone in the meet.
Yeah, it was about $450, something like that.
Oh, heck yeah. That's good. Yeah. Man, you can't.
So we realize you can, those jackpots, that's how you make your money, man.
We balanced out.
That's for sure. That's why we do them. That's why we do them.
Yeah, so Sabrina and I have recently talked about this. I mean, she's going to try and do a little bit more now. I mean, we're going to keep cooking beans for sure. And just kind of see how it plays out because I agree with you. I mean, man, there's a couple bucks in that thing, man. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure at Smoking on the Rio maybe 2 years ago, Caesar won like a lot of money. Like a couple grand, bro. Yeah. Which is wild. But hey, there's money there in them.
And beans are so cheap to make.
Yeah, beans are cheap, dude.
Yeah.
It takes
Joyce, we counted them. I think she has 12 first place beans.
Oh wow.
She hasn't cooked beans in a long time. Since
I started last year.
The last time she cooked beans was that doubleheader in Victoria.
Yeah.
And okay, I remember that.
Yeah, and I think she hit second and first both days. Chili too, yeah. Yeah, there's an award somewhere.
I have to look up.
But yeah, so she stopped doing the beans so she can just focus on the meats because she has a long bean process. So you know, it's just kind of one of those things where she doesn't do it as much anymore. But that's how we kind of got in. She got into wanting to do more with the jackpots and eventually herself.
It really is just. I mean, really, you wake up in the morning like I just want to do meats. I don't know if I can really do beans. Put all that effort in beans and meats.
No, that's the great thing about like Sabrina is we cook the beans and everything, and she'll chop up the stuff, and then we'll stir it together, and you know she'll tell me like, hey, you know when do you want me to put this in, or when do you want me to put that in, or what seasonings do you want me to add, and I'll tell her. And I mean, the way I look at it is there's nothing different from me throwing the, you know, tablespoon of this or the tablespoon of that in there or her. Like I just tell her the recipe that I have and we just go with it. So it's been fun. I mean, we definitely are going to try our best to continue adding jackpots to the table for sure. But, and so when it comes to competition, what do each of you feel is your strongest protein? And besides it, maybe it's not your favorite, but what's your favorite protein to cook?
I got my answer.
So I think I am really starting to enjoy cooking chicken, just because chicken, it really has been our Achilles heel. I mean, it's the funniest thing to us now to be part of the top 10 in chicken, because that's the only thing that ever held us back in the last 3 years, 4 years, that chicken would keep us from winning those grand championships sometimes. And right now, brisket, I feel so confident with my brisket that I'm like, I think I got you too, Vincent.
Yeah, I thought she got me this weekend for sure.
Yeah.
But it feels good to walk into a competition now and feel confident, like how he feels confident. Before, I mean, last year I could say we would drive in and I knew I was going to compete. I had my heart beating a little harder. I had adrenaline driving me crazy. I mean, anxiety through the roof. But now this year's like, oh, it's such a breeze. It was a dance I needed to learn the steps for, and I'm good to go now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say my my favorite protein to cook is definitely brisket, but I think my strongest protein is my pork.
Really?
It's kind of a weird, it's a weird thing because that's, most people probably know me for my brisket, but the numbers don't lie. I mean, my pork is really, really strong.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually enjoy cooking pork because we don't do it as much.
Yeah.
And one thing I like about doing the pork, the way I do it real hot and fast, especially with like the money muscle. So I'm checking. It only takes an hour to get done before I wrap it. And so I'm checking it, every 15 minutes. So for that hour, I'm really outside looking. So I don't know. I like cooking both of them. So it's kind of, I like cooking both of them, but pork's probably my better one.
Yeah, there you go. I did think you were going to say brisket is your favorite because, yeah, you're right. When I think of you as a cook, I think brisket. That's the first thing I, kind of think of. Not that your other proteins lack, but I just instantly go to brisket, right? So,
yes.
Yeah, the cool answers. and I think it's really cool that your favorite protein is different than your best protein. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think it's funny that, chicken seems to be the weakest link for a lot of people coming in. It seems like it would be harder to learn to cook a brisket or pork or ribs, but no, it's that chicken. It gets everybody.
I mean, they're big meats, but you really just let them do their thing. And as long as you know how to tempt that meat to the right probing temperature, then...
And I'll put it one way. So, our chicken. So we only have, myself as Regi-Q, we only have 2 GCs where we even had a chicken call.
Yeah.
And so this past weekend, luckily they're calling top 15, but when I hit 11 chicken, I just had I was like, okay, well, there's a chance because I wasn't in the top 10. So I was like, there's a chance there. And so, then it was second, first. So it's just weird because that's how bad chicken has held us back.
Yeah.
I mean, I have 7 GCs with no chicken call.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Oh no, dude. So our most recent one is I can't get over it. I still can't get over it. I mean, Arlington, right? We had a 5th place rib, a 1st place brisket, and a 34th chicken. And dude, honestly, like, I'm not gonna lie, when we heard our song at 4th, I was devastated. Devastated. Like,
another feeling.
Like, dude, when I tell you, like, you could have seen a grown man cry, like, that's what I felt like doing, But yeah, but it's also another part of what I love about competition barbecue. It keeps you there. It's like, man, if I would have just hit even a 20th place chicken or whatever, I would have won that event. It's one of those things I don't really like to live like, oh, what if, whatever. But man, a fact is a fact. If I can go and look at the numbers, if I would have hit a 21st place chicken, I win the event. And that to me is motivating. I mean, with a 34th place chicken, we get 4th. I mean, we're there. We're in the ballpark. And that's all I want to do is be in the ballpark. Every single event, I just want to be there. So I think we're getting there. It's going to take some time. We got to work on that chicken, but
and honestly, that's one of the things I've kind of changed my approach this year. Prior years, I've always kind of tried to, like I said, I'm more injection heavy. And so she's more season heavy. And so I feel like when I inject more, I kind of have that taste that runs longer. So prior years, I've been working on trying to get like a really, really high call on everything rather than being steady across the board.
Yeah.
And so this year I've kind of drawn it back a little bit and focused on really the technique and the texture, on the chicken, whatever chicken I'm cooking, thighs, legs, whatever, halves, trying to get that texture, the skin correct. And so changing that mindset, year over year has helped quite a bit to kind of get to that consistency.
Yeah.
But this past weekend, it's interesting because since we were cooking individually, I said, well, screw it. I'll kind of do my own thing. And I went back to that, kind of, different, injection process and whatnot. And, I was second and first. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, do you go back? Do you change? Do you stay? But, going to next week or this coming weekend, I'm definitely going back to what we've been running consistently and trying to just be, hit our marks correctly. So it's a different mentality. But now this year, I just see where it is more important to be more consistent, and get the flavors on the board that are not offensive to anyone.
For sure. Yeah, no, man, it's crazy. There's been a lot of times that I've tasted people's proteins and, not saying names or anything, but man, I feel like, wow, that is very powerful. Like, holy crap. And man, I see them walk first. I see them walk high. But then you see them tank sometimes, right? And I think that this is kind of I think it's something that everybody can learn from, right? I completely agree with you. Man, I think if you came up to me this weekend and said, hey, let me taste your brisket, and I gave you a piece of brisket, you would probably be like, it's okay.
Yeah. And that's what you want to hear.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's what you want to hear.
I think
people tell me that all the time. I'm like, yep, perfect.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I think you would get if you tasted my brisket. You'd be like, pretty good. Yeah, I mean, not the best thing I've ever tasted. And again, like for me, I'm like, perfect. That's exactly what I want. Because
on brisket for sure.
Yeah, I'm not gonna offend it. I want it tender as all can be, and I want it to not offend anybody. I mean, that's truly the way I go after it. So, man, a lot of nice little tidbits being dropped in this one, especially by you guys, giving out some of that information, man. We appreciate it for sure.
Yeah, I think that's great advice for anybody, especially if you're getting into competition barbecue, because you don't want somebody walking away going, that was too much of this or too much of that. Yeah. And that's what everybody tries to do, is they try to go, as over the top as they can, because you're giving essentially one bite. So in your head, you're like, I got to make this one bite count. But no, you really want to kind of be middle in the pack of like, okay, this is whoever likes really salty is still going to like this. Whoever likes really sweet is also still going to like this.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I tell people all the time, because, like this past weekend, we did a non-sanctioned event, and I was able to have a lot of my close friends around because it was in our hometown. And man, a lot of people were tasting our ribs and stuff, and they're like, bro, like, how do you do this? I'm like, how do I do what? How do I do what? And they're like, dude, regular, it just, to me, don't get me wrong, were they good ribs? Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But it's like, I tell a lot of people this, and I mean it sincerely. I'm like, dude, you taste my ribs, you go taste Reggie's, you go taste Joyce's, you go taste Phil's, Reni's, Bill's, bro, they're all fire. Yeah. Like there's so many people that can cook good, man. Like you don't think I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of people that cook really, really good food. I mean, what table you land on, you got your tenderness down, all those things, man, they matter so much. Normal people that don't compete like us, they just won't really get that. But man,
no, exactly, they don't. It's a completely different ball game
for sure. But man, and like I said, there's those same people that taste the ribs, man. Those are the judges, right? So you do also like to hear that, like, okay, well, my friends my friends that would be the judges at a contest, man, they loved these ribs, so I'm on the right path for sure.
Yeah. Exactly. And really, sometimes you try to get a little bit more out of them. So what do you think? How did you actually perceive that?
Whenever the judges, we see the judges coming down, they're walking there and say, hey, I want to eat more food. So we want to pick their brains and see what they thought about this, what they thought about that. So that helps a lot.
Mm-hmm. And so you guys compete very frequently. So with the summer coming up and the Texas heat upon us, how do you stay motivated to keep going out there as frequently as you guys do?
Thankfully, it's not hot yet.
I think it really was competition. It was the hunger to keep going. The first years were really, let's try to hit all of our bucket list competitions. And if we can get to the next one, we can get to the next one. And let's just try to be top 10. Let's try to be top 5.
The heat, when you're kind of chasing it like that, the heat doesn't really play a big factor in it.
Yeah.
But as we've gotten further into it, it's definitely playing a big factor. So I don't know if we'll be competing as much this summer. I definitely want to do at least 1 to 2 every month, and then really start chasing again hard in September. Yeah. We haven't really had a good vacation in like 4 years. So we're trying to, hopefully take vacation this year. And take a little bit of time away from barbecue, to be honest.
Yeah. No, we actually planned something this year, and unfortunately, I actually think it's going to mess with Briscoe. and maybe Texas Angels because we're taking the kids to Disney World. They don't know that yet.
Oh, wow.
But so we're planning on taking them this year in December. And Sabrina and I talked about it too. Like, and we've had little vacations. Like, let's go to San Antonio for the weekend, or let's go stay here or stay there. Or a weekend competition in Dallas. But man, we haven't taken time off like this, and it's been a long time. So man, much deserved. I hope you guys enjoy that, obviously, when the time comes. So you kind of touched on it a little bit, maybe a little bit of a break in summer, and then chase it really hard. Man, what are your goals this year for Regi-Q and for Smoke and Grit for competition barbecue in 2024? Are you guys going to chase points, or are you trying for a specific category to maybe get a top 3, top 1? I mean, what's your goals?
So, I mean, obviously I want to be the top cooker in the state.
Yep.
You know, I've definitely got it. You know, Phil's got a big lead and whatnot, but at the same time, we've seen people go on some crazy runs. So you got to kind of believe that that's the purpose, you know? So it could be something where it's like, hey, I need 6 GCs. Well, I got 6 comps left, you know? So it's
never
one of
know.
those things that you never know exactly. So that's obviously that's obviously the goal. Yeah. You know, everyone wants to be the top cooker. For sure. And I changed my mindset. It's like last year I wasn't chasing points, but this year I came in with the ideology of, hey, I Joyce whooped everyone's butt last year, including mine. And I don't want to be known as a dishwasher. So it's a redemption year for sure, to kind of show everyone like, hey, this was part of our master plan. You know, I remember sitting there at the San Antonio Rodeo 2 years ago with Bill Purvis, and I told him, hey, this year I'm taking it off pretty much. I want to focus on getting my seasonings out correctly, get this and that done. And I can't do that with doing all the weekly stuff to compete at a high level. And so I took a step back, and, she was like, hey, I want to compete here or there. And then she said, I want to go on a run. So that's what we did. So, the ultimate goal, is really to have a really, really good year. A realistic goal is to be at least in the top 3 in every category this year. Yeah. Including overall.
Yeah. And I mean, it starts up here, right? It starts with your mindset. I definitely think you're on the right path for sure. What about Smoke and Grit? I mean, do you think you'll do enough to kind of chase points and stuff like that?
I think I'm kind of in the lead. I think right 40th in brisket. I think that is one of the ones where I'm like, oh, if I could get even top 20 somewhere.
Yeah.
But really, for me, it'd be nice to, as a woman, as a barbecuer, first time, really try to be part of top 20, top 15, top 10.
Yeah, she'll probably only end up getting like 10 comps this year. So that's going to be the issue that we're going to run into.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then I remember at the beginning of this year, I was like, well, at the end of the year, I'll give you a few comps. Don't worry about it. But I don't think that's going to happen.
We're just too concentrated on Regi-Q right now that I'm like, I mean, it's fun, but I'm also still having just the same fun. It's not that any different. And now we actually get to relax a little bit more. If we're just doing it as one team, he gets to go and have a few more beers somewhere or hang out with my girlfriends. It just gives you a little bit more time to hang out than what we used to have.
Yeah. Well, you say that you're going to focus a little bit more on Regi-Q this year. So let's talk about Regi-Q. So we've talked about the fact that you guys have a competition team. Vincent, you're the head cook. Joyce, you help out tremendously. But people might not know. They probably do. But they might not know that you also have a business with Regi-Q Barbecue. You have some seasonings. You have a line of seasonings that I've seen you been growing since I got into the game. And what products do you currently offer?
So right now we only have 2 seasonings currently out to the public.
To the public, that's important because I'm going to ask you. I do have some questions. I have some questions here in a minute because you know where I'm going with this. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so to the public, we do have our cow tipper, which we have our cow tipper, which that's all purpose right there.
Yeah, I know.
So we have our cow tipper who, that's really something I've been working on for many years, actually. Ever since I, was a kid type thing. I'd always kind of flavor, brisket, salt, black pepper, and a bunch of other little things that were kind of in the drawer type thing. Mm-hmm. So that's something that I've been working on for a long time. And then our all-purpose is really a complement to all meats, and complement directly to the cow tipper specifically for brisket, beef, fajitas, ribeye, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, the cow tipper and the all-purpose are definitely our babies. They're definitely kind of like the flagship type of, they're definitely, the seasonings that are going to kickstart it. But we do have a pork and chicken one that we've been running for probably about a full year now.
Yeah. We have a few of our.
So in that one, we're really excited about. It's gotten, I don't know, 5-6 perfect scores from different people who have been running it. So that one's been really, really good for us. And then we also have another one that we've been working on. It's a beef injection.
Okay.
So we've been working on that. It's been going really, really well. We're just kind of trying to finalize a few things with that.
So what's the number 4? Is that your pork?
Yeah, the number 4 is our pork and chicken.
Okay. I was going to say, because I've seen not plenty of people, but I've seen people that are on your pro staff with a bottle that says number 4 on it. I'm like, all right, I know that's got to be something that they're working on. I know how it goes, man. I know how it goes. We do. Yeah. You might have seen a lot of people using just a blank bottle from us. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same exact thing, man. Where, hey, make sure you like it. Give me serious, honest feedback. Exactly. And that's the thing, man. With what you guys do and what we do. By the way, back to Cow Tipper and your AP. Cow Tipper has a very, very unique flavor to it that I really do love. So anybody that's out there that has not tried Regi-Q products, we're going to leave a link in the description of this podcast so you guys can go try those. Or we'll give you information on where to go, because I'm not sure if you guys have a website, but I do know that there are definitely a lot of places that carry Cow Tipper and your AP. These are products you need to be trying. If you guys want to be doing well in competition barbecue, you can step your game up with Cow Tipper and their AP. So great products. We tried them, we finished them, and we really enjoyed the brisket rub Cow Tipper. I know it's not the brisket rub, but we played around with it on a lot of different stuff. So just great products overall. I know number 4, whatever that's going to be named, is going to be great as well. And then of course a beef injection. You have the stats to back up having a really, really good beef injection. So, really excited to see those products come to life for you guys. So we were going to kind of get into what you guys plan on doing. You gave us a little bit of a tease there, pork, chicken, also beef injection. I mean, do you guys have any plans for, I don't know, maybe a sauce, maybe more injections? I mean, where do you want to take Regi-Q barbecue? I mean, is this, something you guys are looking to maybe one day full-time, you guys are full-time doing Regi-Q barbecue, all that?
Yeah. That's definitely the goal. I don't know if full-time competition Regi-Q barbecue is what I'm looking to do, but definitely something barbecue, related.
Yeah.
Mainly towards, competition being a big part of that. But, kind of going back to the very beginning of this, it was always our intention to kind of make this our, career, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when we kind of got into it at the beginning, she liked it a little bit, but sleeping in the truck and a lot of work, and then sleeping in the truck and all that, and then getting started in the heat of the summer. That was rough. And so, it took a while for her to kind of really, really jump on board. And so now that she's really on board, I'm just trying to kind of run with it as much as we can. And just trying to expand it. But I don't necessarily see us going into the sauce game.
Okay.
That's not necessarily something I want to do. I'm really looking at the injections and the actual seasonings. But little by little, I definitely...
We won't cross it up.
No, I definitely move very slowly, get everything lined up, and then we go for it. So it may look like a slow process, but once it gets going, it's full steam ahead basically from there.
That's awesome. And so the last thing about your products for now that we wanted to ask is, where can people find them?
Yeah. So, I mean, there are a few stores that we have all around. I guess we can name them all.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. So I mean, go for it. If you guys want, obviously also we'll put in the description the stores that all carry your products as well.
Yeah,
we also have our website.
Yeah, so our website, we're actually, as soon as we finish here, we're releasing our website.
Nice.
So when this airs, the website will definitely be fully up and running. We've already run through all the kinks and whatnot. So
Great.
It will be up and running. So
Regi-Q
in the Houston area, we're in the barbecue store, Chopping Block Webster. And then we're also at the Chopping Block Victoria, Stoke, South Texas Outdoor Kitchen in Edinburgh, Texas, Lone Star Pro Shop here in San Antonio, Helotes area. We're also at Cattleman's out in the Uvalde, Savino area. Rockin' A out in the Austin, Hutto area.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm missing one more.
The Man Store.
The Man Store. They're in the Pleasanton, Poteet, Jordanton area. So if you guys are going to Jordanton this week, and they're actually having I believe it's like a 10% sale for any competition product purchase. So nice. The Man Store in that area is a good one to go to.
And you guys always have some on you too at the competition, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I usually once I get everything done, I'll go out and just kind of walk around with the box, and hopefully I don't come back with a box. So
I tell them, go do your Girl Scouting.
Yeah, so I just walk around and hey, Reg, okay, so it works out that way. So you got to kind of hustle it a little bit, but it's all part of the game.
For sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't go messing with Reggie at 11:55, please. Make sure it's Friday night when you guys go ask for some seasonings. But no, so that's great. That's great to hear. Plenty of stores. We're gonna put all that stuff in the description. Really, really glad you guys got the website going. I'll check it out right when we're done filming this today. So now let's move into some questions from people on Facebook. Cool?
Yeah.
So you probably saw some of these, I'm sure. But and the thing that I love is some people they're just like straight up like, hey, right here, what are your go-to sauces? And you know what? Hold on, let me get out my pen real quick. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'll tell you. So my go-to sauce from the very beginning has been Craig's.
Yeah,
that's been that. I mean, in any product I use, with the exception of brisket, it's broken into 3 even. Mm-hmm. So, with the exception of that, all the rest of them, Craig's is probably at least 40 to 50% of the original sauce.
Nice.
So if you're looking for a good starter, it'd be that.
Yes.
If you're looking to mix into that, Blue Hogs has a great line. I really, really like their stuff. And the other one that I've really taken a liking to is a lot of the Smoking Wizard.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's really what I've been using. Those 3 lines have been really, really good for us.
Nice. Okay, so Donnie Howard asks, did y'all catch up on sleep? Then, and then he says, and what's that rib glaze? Well, Donnie, he kind of just told you that it's Craig's, right? And then you can kind of build it from there.
Yep, it is. Yeah. Yeah. So it's I like their pepper jellies and whatnot. The one I use a lot of people use is the apple cherry habanero.
Yeah, it's good. And you can get it at HEB now.
Yep, exactly. So
easy. It's easy to get.
Exactly.
To that one.
Yeah. So I like their jellies. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Eric Lopez asks, what is the key to being as consistent as you are?
It's the little things. Mm-hmm. It's the little things that add up to 10 things being missed. Yeah. If you're going through your process, it's really just being focused, having everything in line, knowing exactly what your next step is. And even on top of that, before you even do all that, it's probably repetitive, but you have to know your pit. You have to know what you're cooking on. You'd be surprised at how many people come up and they ask me, hey, what do you use on your brisket? So, I mean, obviously I use my seasonings, and, they'll ask, what are you using for this? What are you using for that? How do you do this? How do you do that? But the real question is, what do you want to turn in? What do you want to turn in? Do you want your brisket to be smoky? Do you want it to be a hot and fast brisket? Do you want it to be XYZ? And a lot of times, when they don't know that answer, it's hard to kind of give them the right perspective, And so what I like to do is whenever someone's asking for help, I like to give the technique that you probably need to learn. So a lot of times, like, no, I know my brisket needs more smoke. Okay, well, how are you cooking it? Well, 350, 2 hours. Okay, well, you're not getting any smoke there.
Yeah.
Same char, or, like, hey, I want to get smoke on it. And, you look at their pit and they're really trying to get so much clean smoke in there that there's not going to be any chance of smoke getting on there.
A lot of those offsets these days, man, they run way clean.
Almost too clean.
I agree.
Clean. And so, just learning your pits, and even on drums, knowing where your hot spots are and aren't. I know a lot of people have issues with their burn ends. And what happens is you find out that people are just kind of throwing their the caddy here and the point here, and right there, that's your hot spot. Yeah. So that flat's being burnt up. I'm sorry, that point's being burnt up so quickly, and it's really got to be babied. So, I always ask people, have you done the biscuit test? If you haven't done the biscuit test on any of your drums, any of your pits, that's where you need to get started first off.
For sure.
And then once you know your hot spots, then you can kind of adjust and whatnot. And you see, like, hey, let me rotate all this stuff. Well, you rotated it, but you don't even know if it's hot there or not. You don't know, so if you know your pit, then your rotation may be a half rotation, not just a full rotation or something like that. Yeah. And so I think those are all the little things that are really needed. But if you know your pit, you're going to take a huge shortcut to not messing up your food.
For sure.
So that's the biggest thing in my opinion.
I think that's great advice too, because everybody's looking for recipes, right? And it's like, okay, well, I could give you the exact recipe, but how you cook it matters. So if you're trying to follow step by step what we do, and you're cooking on a completely different pit at a different temperature, different techniques, it's not going to come out the same.
Yeah. And that's kind of Sabrina and I's argument, because in the very beginning, when we first started doing the YouTube videos, man, I would get how many people would call me and be like, bro, you're giving way too much information. You are giving way too much information. And I'm like, I'm really not. I'm like, you're
not. Yeah. I'm These are all normal things that people know.
And I'm like, man, you have no idea all the things that I'm not. I hate to say it for anybody that's listening, but you have no idea how many things I am not showing you on the camera.
Yeah.
And you guys know there's probably literally 60% of it I'm doing off camera.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. That is the dead honest truth. The way I finish, you guys are, probably never going to see that on camera, right? Because that's that's where it's all at. But it's there's so much to it. Recipes are great if you can cook them the same exact way Reggie does or Joyce does or I do. Man, you really need to learn how to, in my opinion, make a good tender piece of meat, and you can adjust flavors from there. But I do think that's super important.
That's all you need.
Yep, and that's what I tell people. If you learn the technique, all the flavorings, you can just rotate them in and out.
For sure.
All that doesn't matter. You just rotate that in and out. It's learning the techniques. And I was lucky, when I started this, I have, still, I guess I call him a mentor. He's a good friend of ours, but, I still talk, we talk almost daily about technique. And it's funny because all these years, I say all these years, only been 3 years since we've known him. And, going on 4 years, we known him. And all these, he's only given us one seasoning because he's real tight-lipped about his processes and whatnot, but it's not his seasonings and stuff that I want. Yeah. It was a critiquement of how I was doing with my technique.
Yeah.
And so I tell him, hey, I'm having issues with this. Well, what are you doing with that? So I tell him I'm doing this. Oh, nope, stop. Like that right there. You can't do this and that together. You have to do them separate. You have to do this. You have to do that. And we'd look at each other and be like, and
we thought about that.
Yeah, and he'd be like, well, on the comments, did it say, and we're like, crap, like 3 comments said that.
Checking off.
So that's Friday night. Saturday, we go and make that adjustment because we just took it out of the process that we were going through because we know the technique.
Yeah.
And so, you do that and then you hit a third chicken, a fourth rib or something like that from just simply not even adjusting seasonings, but just adjusting a little bit of the cooking process and the technique that you're cooking it in. And that's what really matters, and he tell me all the time, if you can't cook, you can't cook.
Yeah.
To be a good cook. So if you're not a good cook, you're not a good cook. You need a cookbook.
Yeah.
And so it's little things like that I started really, really realizing, if people start asking me, hey, how do I do this or how do I do that? And they're coming from the technique perspective, then I'm definitely a lot more receptive to giving them advice on it because they want to learn something, but if you're, hey, I want to know, your seasonings, your injection, and no, just quarter cup, third cup, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's probably, you're not going to get much out of it because you're not going to know how to actually apply it. You're just going to know how to make, a soup basically.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Man, and the last question we got comes from Andy Reyes. When can we expect to see those super secret new rubs and injections? Also, any tips or tricks for cooking in the SA area?
Oh, SA area, man, I live here and I get smoked here, dude. I get smoked here bad. So last week was the first. So last week we cooked in San Antonio. That was the first comp in 13 in a row that we were outside the top 10. So yeah, San Antonio, I wish I had some advice for you, man. I really do not.
I have some advice. Cook good barbecue. cook.
Yeah, and that's I think in San Antonio, to be honest, the more blander, the better.
Yeah.
Go eat Bill Miller's before you go to competition, and I'm not kidding. Turn that in, you'll probably do pretty well.
Yeah.
And then
and that's the thing. We have a lot of barbecue places here that are fast food barbecue in a way.
Yeah.
And we all get used to. I mean, he will tell you that we've gone out of a competition and hey, let's get Bill Miller's for dinner.
Yeah.
And there I am. Can I have the brisket plate?
I'm like, I thought we were here for fried chicken.
You have brisket in your trailer. You want to come and eat someone else's brisket.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm craving it weirdly.
Yeah. So as far as the seasoning, so the secret season, what he's referring to is that there's actually a number 3 and a number 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right now we're kind of going back and forth on which one, because I think realistically to grow correctly, we're going to need to pick one or the other first. And so that's kind of where I'm still going with it. It may be the end of the year. I'm not in a rush for those two. Or the injection, because I'm doing so well with it. Last year when I released the cow tipper, I kind of was selling it more hand to hand with people. And I noticed that it came out a little bit too early. We wanted to kind of get it more, through a straight co-packer and all that instead of going hand to hand. But obviously we are now.
Yeah.
But we started getting smoked with our own seasoning last year. So now that these are doing well, I want to kind of hold them a little bit longer and make sure that when they're released, everything's correct and just moving forward in the right direction.
It has the right consistency that we want it to meet.
Yeah. So I'm not in a rush. It will likely be the end of this year, the beginning of next year.
Yeah.
Okay. That's great information, man. Really, really appreciate your time today. That's really all that we had. Before we let you guys go, do you guys have any special shout outs, any sponsors or anything like that?
Yeah.
We don't have any sponsors. we don't have any barbecue sponsors, but we do have our coffee sponsor.
We have a coffee sponsor.
Yeah.
We have a Pitmaster.
And we get to comp so late on Fridays that Saturday mornings is just it's a lifesaver for us. So Grillside Coffee, they're our coffee sponsor. They we love that a lot. So next time we see y'all, we have a few samples. We'll make sure we get you guys a few samples as well.
Sweet. Yeah, no, my dad's always with me. I'm sure you probably noticed. And he's a coffee drinker, man. So we'll have to get him some of that coffee in the morning. He comes with a big old thermos, a huge Stanley thermos, and he's pouring it and just drinking it all morning long, right? Poor my dad.
I got a Stanley thermos too.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
It's a thermos with a Stanley from The Office.
Oh, okay. I'm going to have to get a picture of you.
Did I stutter?
Right. No. Man, well, I thought this was a great episode. I think you guys have given a lot of great information to people that might be getting into barbecue. Maybe if you're a wife out there that wants to get into barbecue, don't be afraid. You can be like Joyce. You can go out there and win GCs and win some money and, show the men out there how to do it. I have 2 daughters myself. I want them to feel like they can do anything they want in the world. I think that's very important to me, and I promise you with every part of my being that I mean that. So I love that you're doing what you do, Joyce. Reggie, I don't know why I keep calling you Reggie. Vincent.
That's fine. People don't know my first name.
Both of you guys. No, I know your first name, but both of you guys are technically Reggie, right? But anyway, man, no. Again, thank you for a great episode. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it. I know I did. Sabrina, do you have anything else that you wanted to say before we leave?
No, just let everybody know where they can follow you at on social media.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah. So right now we're on Instagram and Facebook. Just how it's spelled: Regi-Q Barbecue, REGIQ BBQ. Instagram, Facebook. We have a YouTube channel, but we have not added anything in quite some time. So that's something that we're starting to kind of at least do some shorts and some short videos on that.
Nice.
Coming up. So
and again, for anybody that's listening, I will put links in the description so you guys can just go and click. It makes it really easy to find these guys. You definitely want to follow them on their barbecue journey. If he's going to be putting out shorts and videos, there will probably be some tidbits that you can pick up by watching those. Even if he doesn't mean to do it, there'll be something. And trust me,
for our website, we really want to do that. I've set it up to where we will be able to add in tips and little videos in there to help out.
Nice.
Whoever wants to buy, hey, you can also take a look at the tips that we also have available for.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
There you go. Well, we look forward to that. We look forward to seeing Regi-Q Barbecue starting some YouTube videos. They're active on social media. Go follow them. And again, thank you guys for being on the show tonight. We appreciate it. For everybody that's watching and listening, obviously subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're listening on any of the podcast platforms, make sure to subscribe to those as well. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you on the next episode. Peace.